Yeah, because I'm me and I'm different and I don't know what I'm talking about, I would do it the other way. I would say to all the companies, send me what you've got, and I would take each product and examine each product, and then I would decide what looks like or appears to be the best products, and then find a price. Because surely you have to start with the product and not
Mm.
the price, because price matters naturally. If you can't afford something, you can't afford something. But by focusing on price, you are automatically excluding quality.
Mm.
You're automatically excluding quality because
Yes, yes.
a lot of companies that are good at what they do are going to say, well, we can't provide it for that price, or we're going to have to lower our standards to provide it for that price. And yeah, it does seem to be backwards, though. It's a bit like like you go into, it's a lottery, right? It's a huge lottery because you
Mm.
go into a restaurant and you get a menu and
Mm.
you look at the menu. It's a lottery. You don't know if what you order is going to be good. You don't know if you
Mm.
should have from menu A or menu B or menu C or however it's done. You don't really know what is good in there. In fact, you're not an expert
Mm.
in the restaurant. You're not a chef in the kitchen, so you don't know what the kitchen prepares the best. You don't know which chef is working that day. You don't know what their speciality is, and so um, when you order something, it's a giant risk. It has to be far better in life, to just as a general life philosophy, to look at the
Mm.
product first and not the price, because then you can judge what it is that you want in the future. If you can't afford quality now, then you know that you need to work harder to afford quality in the future. Otherwise, you just don't know what's out there. You just spend your whole life blind, missing the opportunities that you don't even know exist. And there's a lot of blindness out there. I mean, you, you here's a crazy analogy, right? I'm trying to think of an analogy that would explain how crazy it is. If you're a guy and you're looking for a girl, then you're not going to want to choose the most affordable girl. You're not, because there might be, and then you might get someone who's affordable. And that's the analogy is that some girls are more expensive than others, right? You
Mm.
know, some some. Hey, that's the real world. I'm sorry to point that out, but that is the real world, right? There's um, and you have to find out about expectations. And if you just say, okay, I'm prepared to spend this amount of time or money or investment in my relationship, is that going to work out with, and find out who that's going to work out with, you're not going to ever know what you're missing.
Mm.
You know, paradise could be just around the corner, but you never look around the corner, right? You never go beyond the limitations that you set for yourself. Whereas if you actually take the time to meet the girls and get to know them and to understand them, then you can learn to value them and their characteristics and personalities better, as we should do in all human relationships. And
Mm.
um, and you're just not going to get good quality if you say, I'm only going to spend money on the cheapest girl,
Mm.
because you also cheapen yourself by doing that. You devalue yourself. at the same time. It's also not a good way to run your human relationships. So this idea that it's just so very similar to the race to the bottom, yeah, which is yeah, we'll provide you with a super cheap price, and after the price we'll check the quality. I mean, it doesn't work, you know. It's the cheapest restaurant usually serves the worst food. The cheapest fuel is not good for your car. The cheapest t-shirts fall apart really quickly. The cheapest homes have a billion problems within them. The cheapest mobile phones, well, they don't work very well. Yeah, they have bad cameras in them, and they don't connect to the Wi-Fi properly, and they have storage issues, and the RAM is not capable. I mean, we don't do this in any other area of life because it wouldn't be practical and sensible. Yes, we're limited by our financial resources, but also, in my experience, we don't have a better quality of life when we only focus on our financial resources. The idea that Ferrari exists is motivation to be better. I mean, that's the way that it is. If you walk into a car dealership and you say, "Hey, car dealer, sell me your cheapest car," that's not really. I mean, he will show you a car that gets you from A to B, but it's not the right way to run any. It's not the right way to run anything ever. So when a company says, "Hey, here's an auction, and we want you to provide great products at a really good price, and we'll look at price first and then products later," it's, you know, the word mistake comes into my mind when I think about that way of doing things. It's an attempt to simplify something which needs to be thought about very carefully. And then they're never going to know how to budget, and you never know how to budget in the future if you don't know the real value of anything. And you don't know the real value of everything if you're always pushing down the price. So right, yeah, like I understand the strategy. It's a very it's just a very mafia orientated strategy, right? Where there's not really much flexibility or choice involved there.